Hi everybody, welcome back to Woman Carrying Man. I'm Jake, this is Nadia, this is Buddy, and Sedona is eating downstairs, and today we are talking about Spirited, the new Apple movie, right? Apple TV Plus. Oh, here she comes.
Oh.
All right, now we're all set. A movie that I was not interested in, not looking forward to, but you told me about it, and then we got a deal on Apple TV, so we watched it. Actually pleasantly surprised. How about you?
So Sidoni apparently wanted to be with Mama.
So what did you think of this movie?
I, for some reason, didn't know that it was a musical.
Me neither.
And I missed that, but I really liked that it was a musical.
The musical parts were the best parts.
Yes. And especially the deleted one at the end.
Yeah.
But I was actually surprised at like little twists and turns that you don't find in a lot of traditional Christmassy films. I felt like.
Yeah, I was surprised too because it ended up being a retelling of Christmas Carol, which I didn't realize. But it was like Scrooged, but from the perspective of the ghosts of Christmas past, present, future. You know, and it's like kind of like a play on the whole like Christmas industry thing, you know, like Santa and his workshops, but it's like these ghosts who like they put on a production where they try to, you know, make a bad person good, just like Ebenezer Scrooge. And I was like, oh, that's actually a charming idea.
Yeah, and then the whole premise of it is that they're usually trying to turn like people who could be redeemable into someone who is redeemable. However, Ryan Reynolds' character is someone who's unredeemable. That's the whole concept. And then how do you turn this person who does this horrible thing and who's into these horrible businesses that exploits people into someone who really cares about others and wants to do good in the world? I don't know how much I can really say without spoilers, to be honest with you.
Well, I can say that I don't like Ryan Reynolds.
I don't mind him.
I don't like his movies. We watched The Adam Project, and I wanted to put a knife in my eye, but
it was fine. It had Mark Ruffalo.
He was the good part in the movie, like the only good part. But it's just like the kind of like snide humor.
Jennifer Garner
was good. Okay, I'm Ryan Reynolds. I don't like him. I don't like his shtick because he does the same thing in every movie, and I don't think it's fun.
But that is his shtick.
But he plays like the hero who like swears and is like rude and insults people in elaborate ways, and it's just give me a break. But in this movie, he actually played like an asshole, like a genuinely bad guy, which I thought worked, and I felt like his comedy stuff, like he wasn't like the comedic one for the most part. Like the situations were more funny. He was kind of playing more of a character than he usually does, I would say. Not saying it was all great, you know, it wasn't like outstanding, but I thought it worked, and I felt like his dynamic with Will Ferrell was pretty good. I liked what was going on between them. But I cannot emphasize this enough. The best part of this movie was the musical numbers, which were like well choreographed and well shot, and it felt like big. It didn't feel like a cheap, just like poorly done musical thing where it's just like, oh, let's turn this into a musical. It felt like we're making a full-on musical, and it had some great musical numbers, some nice songs. It didn't feel like a total waste of time. It felt like it was fun. There were a couple good jokes. Will Ferrell, I actually thought that he wasn't very great in this role. He was playing more of the straight man character, and it was very against type of what he usually plays. You know, he was kind of like a suppressed, like goody two shoes kind of guy, and it felt almost like he was bored.
What do you mean, Elf? A suppressed goody two shoes.
Elf, he's like a childlike kid full of energy.
Yes, but he's totally a goody two shoes.
Yeah, but this, it almost felt like he was just tired, you know, and he was just kind of like.
Well, that plays into his character, though.
It plays into his character, but it just something felt a little like, I don't know. I love Will Ferrell, and felt like he was in a role that wasn't really doing much for him at his talents, you know.
Yeah, but I think it ended up playing in the storyline pretty well. I think that one of the things, without giving anything away, is that Ryan Reynolds' character and Will Ferrell's character, they both end up helping each other out. Whereas traditionally, a lot of times with these types of movies, it's like, you know, a Will Ferrell type of character would be helping like Ryan Reynolds type of character in this film. So I did like that. I think we should go on to spoilers pretty soon, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, what would you rate it?
7.85.
Okay. Why 8.5?
Because I want to rate it an 8.
Yeah. But there's problems with it that you have to discuss in spoiler section.
You know me too.
I know you so well.
What would you rate it?
6.
What? You seem like you really enjoyed it.
I did. 6 is good.
What the heck?
5 is middle of the road average.
You are...
That's how I rate things, you know.
All right, let's move on to the spoiler section.
Spoilers, some forgettable things about this movie. Like there's like a lot of it I kind of forgot, but there were some things that stood out to me as like, okay, like the scenes with Ryan Reynolds like having to confront his sister when he like refused to take care of her daughter when she was like had cancer.
She was about to die.
Yeah, that was like tough. And I liked how like he at first he just like keeps avoiding it. I did like how they put on this elaborate stuff. And like they're like putting on a production, and then Ryan Reynolds is just such a cocky asshole that it's like he just ruins it, and it's like they can't help him because he's unredeemable. And the twist that Will Ferrell is Ebenezer Scrooge was pretty good, but I mean I just remember going like, he has an American accent now. Did he like change his accent over the years?
He's simulated.
That's a part of being good, is losing your British accent.
I thought that was interesting. I also thought it was I mean, I understood afterwards, but I thought it was interesting, like how he was having a lot of fun, just like in this one musical scene where, you know, Ryan Reynolds, whoa, you used to be unredeemable too. So let's burn down this town that you're from. I mean, it's all a simulation, right? It's not real. So, but there's like a burning person in there. Everything is like going down.
I like that's what I liked about it, is that like Will Ferrell's getting Ryan Reynolds to be a better person, but Ryan Reynolds also getting Will Ferrell to like start to love life again and be bad,
because Will Ferrell's character is afraid to be human again.
Yeah.
Because when he was visited by the ghost of the past, present, and future, he died 3 weeks later after he was quote unquote redeemed. So he always questions like, am I truly redeemed?
Yeah.
And he in the area, like the retirement, you can retire, but the retirement life is basically you living the rest of your life as a human. He ends up falling in love with Ryan Reynolds' assistant. You know, he just like is like love at first sight for both of them, basically.
I actually liked that little like cute romance between them. It was kind of sweet.
It was very sweet. Yeah, there
were a lot of sweet moments and cute moments. I mean, the good afternoon stuff scene was good. The one thing that really was off to me is like, I was like, okay, this is a little too like tonally off when he sees the future, and how like his niece, he teaches her how to be like a dirt bag, like digging up dirt on her other classmates in order to like ruin them. She posts this thing about this other kid that's like doesn't make him look good.
Well, but he gets severely bullied though.
But then it's like it cuts to like, look at what happened. He killed himself. And I remember being like, oh my God, like this kid, it was like really heavy. And I was like, damn, like,
I don't know.
I think it honestly made it though, where it's like you'd have to be really bad to like, after seeing that, be like, screw it, I don't want to change things, you know, because it almost seems too easy, which is why I think it redeemed itself a little bit when Ryan Reynolds sacrifices himself to save Will Ferrell.
And then he ends up like staying dead, because a lot of films he would have been revived, and then I like what they said at the end,
where the sacrifice requires actual
consequences. Yeah. And he ends up living a better afterlife. He ends up taking Will Ferrell's job,
and he's very well suited for it.
Evidently better than that, and he gets his niche, you know. Yeah, I also liked how Will Ferrell, like when he has kids after he turns back into being a human, you know.
And he's like yelling at his kids.
He's yelling at his kids, and then you can kind of see like it's the idea of it is humans aren't perfect. So don't like put yourself in this box, but also like we should try to do our best to be good and not to harm others. And that's really the message, you know?
Yeah, there were some.
And I liked this time when Ryan Reynolds' character, because Will Ferrell was like, when he tried to stop his niece from like posting on Instagram after he saw like the feature, right? That would eventually lead to this other kid being bullied. Will Ferrell's character was so sure that Ryan Reynolds' character was going to be saved and there was going to be a musical, but that didn't happen at that time. And then Ryan was like, maybe I'm not like redeemable right now. Maybe we have to wake up and make choices every single day that we're going to do something good with it. And I really like that because it's very much more realistic, and that's what I liked about it, is that it had this obviously fantasy element that's obviously not real, but it had realism in there that made you think like, yeah, that's true. So I like that it gave a positive message at the end, but at the same time it didn't shy away from the difficulties of everyday life and how much easier it is to just be.
Yeah, it took the Christmas Carol story and turned it on its head a little bit and like looked a little with a little bit of nuance, like what is there consequences of that a little bit. And I like that. And it wasn't super complex. It wasn't super like, it was a nice story. And the thing is like, there's some cringe humor jokes that don't work. Like there's a scene where like Judi Dench is there for some reason and they point it out very meta, which I didn't, that kind of stuff's like, whatever, that won't age great. But this seems to me like a movie, like maybe in a few years, Apple puts it on another platform or something where other people can see it or whatever. But it does seem like the kind of Christmas movies, and from what I've seen, a lot of Christmas movies, like A Christmas Story was this way, are kind of sleeper hits where it's like people find them, they show them to their kids, and then their kids show them to their kids. This seems kind of like a movie that's like
going to become timeless in some way.
I bet you in 10 years, this is going to be like a movie that people like to watch for the holidays, and everyone's going to be like, what? What do you, this stupid movie with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell from 10 years ago? And I was like,
Will
it's a solid
especially,
movie.
He's a very, like, with Elf, he's a very, like,
Christmas
sweetheart,
related.
So.
Absolutely. And it's a solid musical. Like, it has real production quality. And I almost feel like this seemed like the perfect movie for me to be like, you know what? I'm ready to just dig in and just, like, criticize how stupid it is. But, like, it was solid. Like, it wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad at all.
It was nice. It was fun.
I will say the criticism that I have for the film and why I rated it not 8 completely is because I didn't feel like, I mean, it makes sense because you have so much time, I guess, and it's really like a Will Ferrell, Ryan Reynolds film. But I felt like the ghost of the past and the future were so stupid.
Yep.
And like way too much to try to like highlight Will Ferrell being good at the job, but it felt like not like
he ended up becoming
like realism in there, but then that aspect was just like very kiddish.
Well, I think it's like he ended up becoming like the ghost for every section, but for the most part.
Exactly, and that's what needed to happen. But it also made them seem very incompetent at their job,
especially the ghost of Christmas Past, who she's just like. Her whole thing is that she's just like obsessed with him because he's hot. Like it really just sets up the joke of like.
Well, they end up getting together at the end.
Well, yeah, but it's just kind of like a joke that's like kind of like the gag. So it's like there's not. I mean, it was fine. It was fine. It was fine. It could have been better, but.
I don't have anything else to say. Actually, it's a very typical Christmas film, but it's not. I'll say, and there are surprises in there, and I think that they have good twists and turns that are a little bit harder to find depending on what you've watched. So I recommend that you watch it if you haven't already, since you're in the spoiler section. And do you recommend they watch it?
Yeah, if you're down for like just a fun, light musical, yeah, I absolutely.
Well, Sedona is ready to burn down our house, so
She wants to go to bed.
She wants to go to bed, so. All right, we're gonna go to bed soon. Yeah. But thank you guys so much for watching us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.